Greetings and blessings. Welcome to the Vibrational Empowerment Network. Today we are talking about astrology, and this course is called Astrology 101. My name is Ty Hudnall, and I've been a esoteric or spiritual astrologer for the last 22 years. So I guess I started my astrological journey in 1998. And before I found astrology, I was super introverted, classic Pisces for all you guys that have a little astrology knowledge already. And I didn't really talk to anybody. I hid behind my saxophone and I didn't really know how to communicate or express myself in the world or put myself in other people's shoes. And so in 1998, I moved into a communal jazz house with some friends of mine, and my roommate kept telling me I need to meet the guy across the street, that he's really cool guy across the street. So one day he comes over to our house and asks to use the phone. He uses the phone and he sees a zodiac similar to the one behind me, but made in the 60s that my dad had bought with me. And pretty much obsessed with this zodiac my whole life. It was always in my room as a kid. Any room I moved to in the house, that zodiac was there. And so he asked me if he could have the Zodiac, and I looked at him crazy and I said, I think I'm supposed to keep that. And he's a little scary because he was a Black Panther in the day. So I told him I'd give him anything else I own, but I'm supposed to keep this Zodiac. And he looked at me really crazy that day, and he told me to stand right there. And I was standing in front of the fireplace at the house. And let me tell you, I did not move a muscle. And he came back in and he handed me a book, and that book was A Cosmic Science by Isabel M. Hickey. And she produced one of the first spiritual works in the modern age of astrology. And personally, I picked it up very quickly, started doing readings very young, and had the knack to synthesize the information. And so this course, Astrology 101, is to kind of take you guys through what I went through in learning astrology. And there's really three parts to the astrological language. And don't get me wrong, astrology is a language of its own. It is a language of symbology. And it's something like learning a foreign language or learning any language. It takes time, you guys. It takes years to perceptualize it, to perceive it, to integrate it, and to have the information useful to you so that you can use it along with your intuitive reality, your intuitive gifts, your psychic gifts. So the three main parts of Astrology 101 are signs, houses, and planets, and also bells. Bells are a good part of this too. We ring some bells every time we say signs, houses, and planets. So just to connect it to you guys. So what are the signs? So you guys know the signs. They're behind me here in the zodiac, and they're the things that you see all the time, starting with Aries, of course, and then Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So each one of the signs represents your character and what you are rising to become. Each one of those signs is ruled by a planet. And some signs have multiple planets that rule it. We call it sub or co-rulers. And we'll get into all of that, of course. And then we have the houses. And the houses are also the signs, by the way. So you're going to be able to cheat when you learn the signs. I'm going to teach you how to learn the houses at the same time. But the houses are where the physical action happens. That's where the physicality happens. And the houses are just like the signs. The first house, like the first sign, is Aries. The second house is Taurus. Third house is Gemini. The fourth house is Cancer. The fifth house is Leo. The sixth house is Virgo. The seventh house is Libra. The eighth house, Scorpio. Ninth house, Sagittarius. 10th house, Capricorn. And 11th house, Aquarius. And 12th house, Pisces. So signs and houses have a strong connection, as do planets. And so we're not just going to learn what planet rules each sign. We're going to learn how each planet works in every sign. Like, for example, if we take Mercury, how we think about things, and we look at Mercury in the sign of Aries. These are our go getters, they're our pioneers. They mentally are creative and pioneer new ways to do things. Our Taurus Mercuries are super stubborn and slow to act and may miss opportunities. Mercury in Gemini is hates to be bored, can be all over the place, is the multitasker or the person that's doing 25 things at the same time. Mercury in Cancer brings the fear of not having security to the mind. And so Mercury in Cancer organizes our emotions through the mind. In Leo, the mind is dramatic and can make up stories. In Virgo, it can attack ourselves and treat us terribly and tell us that it was never good enough or it wasn't perfect. In Libra, we're always trying to balance everything. And in Scorpio, it's super direct mentally. And so we're still talking about Mercury. In Sagittarius, we're here to seek truth and imagine the mind's seeking of truth, the truth, your own personal truth. And in Capricorn, the mind becomes useful. In Aquarius, the mind is exalted and works super, super quick. And in Pisces, it's more intuitive. So just going through the zodiac with the planet Mercury, just to show you a little bit of what we're going to get into for signs, houses, and planets in the language of astrology. So, Astrology 101. Number one, what is astrology? What is astrology about? And I'm going to give you my perspective on it. I'm sure you can find a whole lot of different perspectives out of there. But for me personally, astrology is the study of sound. And you probably have never heard that before. So let me explain what I truly mean when I say astrology is the study of sound. So the planets produce frequency in the same range that your brain operates. So our brain operates from 0 hertz to around 70 hertz. And the planets are in the lower range there, and our brain is constantly receiving these messages from the planets. Now, these frequencies are moving through space at 151,000 miles per second. And it's around 36,000, give or take, less than the speed of light. So, electromagnetic frequencies from the planets are affecting us all the time. And the cycles in our life is where this becomes really important because we mature on a specific cycle. Our brain forms on a specific cycle. You know, it takes your brain 21 years to have your complete brain. And that is what we call a Uranus cycle. It takes 21 years for this planet to go 90 degrees in the heavens, and we call that your identity crisis. So we got so much to work on here. But imagine that everything in your reality is a vibration, is a frequency, because it is. And astrology is also that frequency. Our ancient psychology is astrology. Carl Jung kept astrology charts on everyone, and all of his recent developments, the anima and the animus, he is retooling astrology for you. And Freud thought everything was sexual because he was a Taurus. And so if you know any Tauruses in your life, you'll know what I mean. They think everything is sexual. So, you know, modern psychology and modern astrology have such a strong connection to one another. And most of the great astrologers, they're all psychologists. I'm not claiming to be a psychologist here. I'm an astrologer. Uh, but our worlds do cross, and I've worked with a lot of psychologists that study astrology and use it in their practice. You know, this type of astrology isn't your horoscope. Your horoscope can be super general, what we're going to do here. And if you've ever had a really in-depth astrology reading, then, you know, it was super personal, and it gets super personal. And maybe that's a good place for us to go now of, you know, what makes up the makeup personality-wise of someone astrologically. And there's 3 main things, just like signs, houses, and planets. There's 3 planets and some signs that make up this energy. And so the first is your sun sign. And the sun sign is what we covered in the beginning of what you're rising to become. So, it comes out later in life. So, all you Tauruses out there, you get stubborn as you get older. All you Leos, you get even more dramatic as you get older. Okay? All you Pisces out there, you get weirder as you get older, much weirder, much, much weirder. Yeah. Anyway, so the sun sign is really important because it's kind of like our map. It's our journey. It's the journey that we're on. It's our character and the character of that journey. So the moon sign represents our childhood and represents our emotions. And for the women, the moon sign is very, very important because feminine is receptive like the moon. The moon is receptive and is illuminated by the sun's energy. Now, you ever wonder why these are the zodiac signs when there are so many constellations in the sky? Because there are lots of them. We were taking some nighttime photography. The picture you see behind me here, we took that on top of Cathedral. Amazing. But the zodiac signs are on what we call the elliptical or the elliptic. I'm sorry, not the elliptical. I think that's a workout machine. Okay, but the elliptic is where the sun and the moon meet in the heavens, and they meet in these 12 constellations and these 12 zodiac signs. So if you ask me if astrology is about the stars, I'd say okay, but it's really, really, really about the planets. Although if we really think about it, we all came from the stars. Everything, every element came out of the star. So yes, we are the stars. And it is about the stars, it's about the planets, and it is about the horizon. And that is our rising sign. And our rising sign has to do with us physically, literally how we look. And if you didn't know there was a sign for how you look, you do now. I'll use myself for an example. I'm a Pisces. That's my character. That's my solar path. I'm going to get weirder and weirder as time goes on. And for most people, I'm probably weird enough already. My emotions are Virgo, so I can be analytical, critical, and picky about things, but I look like a Leo. So Leos have larger builds, hairy, and I got my mane back here. So, those three signs represent the three main aspects of my character. And, for me personally, I can definitely say that really works for me in life because the Leo, I can be dramatic, ask people. I can exaggerate stories with the best of them. More so when I was younger, of course. So yeah, signs, houses, and planets, Astrology 101. We're going to get very specific. We're going to go into this. If you guys want to get the book to study along, I recommend it. Order it on Amazon, order it on anything. It's called A Cosmic Science by Isabel M. Hickey, so that you have a reference for the language. Not necessarily going to teach word for word out of the book because that's not really my style these days. So I'm going to teach you stream of consciousness about everything that's going to come forward for the signs, for the houses, the planets. We may have some guests. We may have some psychic mediums to also channel the signs, channel the stars, channel the constellations, channel the planets. If you guys are interested in that, comment below. We're always interested in the feedback. So we're super excited about creating this series for you guys to learn a little bit more about astrology and the basics and the language. After this, we're going to continue. We're going to go much, much deeper if you guys want to continue learning and developing your astrology practice. So welcome to the Vibrational Empowerment Network. Welcome to Astrology 101. And thanks for being here with us. And we're going to see you next week. Thank you.